It's an absolute tragedy that we have to wake up and hear that father's story about, his kid being in a school with a gunman going around pretending to be the police, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to lure kids out so that he can kill them, a 15-year-old, and, having to have his kid calm him down. Yeah. That is just absolutely terrifying that we have to wake up to that.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that we've normalized and desensitized our kids, right? Do they have to be this way? It's like, okay, Dad, calm down. It's okay. It's just, they go through these drills all the time. I mean, we traumatize them even with drills. And this is, they've seen all the TikTok videos of the last 25 schools that went through this, right?
Yeah, of course. And then they see what I call the Rittenhouse effect.
Yeah.
Which is that this young kid can take a weapon to a circumstance where he initiates the threat of violence by carrying a firearm, then gets into a conflict and then calls self-defense. It's the image in the heads of these young kids that think that they want to be in this, right? And the exciting world is the one that we portray in television and movies all the time, which is, going out and shooting people and things with guns. The NRA has completely, masticated this circumstance by first changing the entire fabric of what the NRA was, which was a target shooting and sports organization, into believing that guns are critical to every moment of your life and that it's a right, just like breathing is a right, right?
Yeah.
So this is where we are. I'm a big gun owner. You guys know that.
Yeah.
I collect firearms. I'm a long distance competitive shooter. I have been my entire career, but they never ever come out of the safe. These people, I'm not joking, and I know them. They literally will sleep with guns next to them. They will caress them and use them as fetishistic objects.
They're precious. They're precious. The precious.
Impossible places.
Yeah, they're the precious.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
And the kids watch this. If it turns out the father bought the gun, again, the other part of the Rittenhouse effect, right? The Columbine shooter, the shooter in Newtown, mother bought the rifle for him, and he murdered her first.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of other armed terrorists in January 6th, somebody wrote a happy clappy piece, which I love. Tuesday was the best day for American democracy in months. The committee achieved visible progress on multiple fronts. It secured critical cooperation from one of Trump's former top aides, that's Meadows. There was movement in a court case that could speed along the delivery of critical documents from the National Archives. I think the judges basically scoffed at Trump's claims of, I think they said, "You're not the president, bitch." I think that's what they said, basically. The cherry on top was the news that one of the highest profile attorneys who pushed the lawsuit, Sidney Powell, aimed at overturning the election, is under grand jury investigation. Taken together, it means the legal and political community might actually do something about former President Trump's efforts to steal the last election. What do you think this morning, Malcolm?
It's nice to be optimistic. It's good that we hear that some of the key players are finally cooperating. I'm not sure I believe that Mark Meadows is actually cooperating.
Yeah, until we get the Trump statement, I don't know that he's cooperating. Yeah. Go ahead.
Right. No, well, someone, I can't recall, I thought it was Rude Pundit, but someone wrote that his quote-unquote cooperation really appears to be, Trump isn't opposing him, isn't attacking him, isn't saying anything about him.
Right.
And that shows that a level of coordination with Trump himself. Trump understands he's going to just sit down, he's going to say, I plead the fifth, or he's going to make a viable, argument that he was operating, under the controls of the president and that he can't comment on that. But he'll do it in front of the committee.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm a little disappointed with this committee is that right now they don't have any plans for public hearings whatsoever. They need to, I know they need to run the clock out, but is a a clock with much bigger stakes. It isn't just getting this report out. November 22, and here I go.
Yep.
I'm going to do this every week till November 22.
Yep.
This is the election that will decide whether American democracy exists. I'm not joking. We cannot afford to lose the House of Representatives. We cannot, which means everybody needs to join their little indivisible group or whatever group and start mobilizing people today, right, to understand that this could quite possibly be the end. Because if the Republicans take that House, they're going to impeach Biden and Harris every day. They will weaken us. They'll destroy the economy. They'll do whatever they need to do to set Trump up for a second election. And right now we're seeing polls because they have the energy.
Yeah.
They feel like they have the chance to get everything they want again. So they're willing to tear down American democracy, lie, cheat, steal, and obfuscate. And what do? We complain when we don't get our one little thing that we're a single issue voter for.
Yeah.
Today, we're hearing Roe versus Wade may end today.
Yeah.
Well, how's that going to work, right? If they control the House of Representatives, you'll never see it again, ever.
Yeah. So Liz Cheney said we will make a determination as we go about the extent of Mark Meadows' compliance. So in terms of, let's see, so the three-judge panel, U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals expressed skepticism about the role of the courts even in settling a dispute in which a former president and a sitting president are loggerheads over the release of White House records. One judge, Millett, noted that the past Supreme Court decisions give more deference to determinations of the sitting president. She said we have one president at a time under the Constitution. So, according to our legal lads and ladies, his case is kind of, it's always what he does, Malcolm, is just try to delay. His case is weak. The House counsel said it would be astonishing for this court to override the current president and Congress. These are key documents Congress should have, and they should have them right now. He assured Millett the administration is not just willy-nilly disclosing privileged information. The circumstances in this case are extraordinary, involving an attack on our Capitol. That is unprecedented, isn't it? I know we use that word too much, but right?
Of course, it's unprecedented. But how many times have we heard the Supreme Court will maintain the norms and standards, right? And other courts. We've seen that this is being challenged now. Again, we're having when was Roe versus Wade done? 1973. Well, that could end today. And when that precedent is overturned, we know this is an activist court that works specifically for individuals. We don't know what they'll do. And the problem is the fact that we don't know what they will do on this, even though it is very clear that Donald Trump is not the president, that Joe Biden determines what is executive privilege now. Believe me, these people are more than willing, certainly a lot of judges who were appointed by Trump, to challenge this. And because the Republican Party is challenging the normalcy of America.
Right.
Like Thomas Ricks said, if there's a certain class of white Republican voters who have decided if they can't get what their version of America, they don't want America at all.
Yeah. Well, it's not just Roe v. Wade. Trump's lawyer struggled after an appeals court judge asked him why the former president has more authority than the current president when it comes to decisions about executive privilege. One commentator said, wow, Trump lawyer Justin Clark just stepped in it with Judge Millett. He's telling her that a former president can sue to stop a current president from using a previous administration's records to conduct foreign policy and national security decision-making. Clark can't give Millett a situation in which he thinks a court could let a current president use those documents under her hypothetical. But you're absolutely right. He's just thinking, oh, this is my Supreme Court that I stacked. If I can delay and get it there, right?
Yeah, and again, you notice we're talking about these decisions on November 6th, and I'm coming back to Roe versus Wade, because what we're looking at is an expansionist version of their America, which means you've got to destroy all the norms and consistencies of the past America to achieve their authoritarian dream wish. So, when they I think they really think they own the courts. And I see a lot of people like Steve Bannon, and Roger Stone, who think that this thing is engineered and that it's engineered for them.
Yeah.
And then again, every once in a while, we see a court case that proves that.
Yeah.
And
I
they're
mean,
taking big risks, but don't forget, they set this system up for the last 4 years
yeah.
to do just this.